A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. Now, this is a poem by John Keats. John Keats belonged to the period of English literature, which is known as the Romantic period of English literature. He, that particular period is known as Romantic period because most of the poets of that particular period they were in love with nature. You have already been in touch with, you have gone through the works of some of the great romantics. First one, uh, William Wordsworth, most probably in class ninth. That was uh, the poem Highland. Um, yes, it was the Highland Lass or something like that. Then S.T. Coleridge, another great poet of that Ancient Mariner that you have studied in class 10th. And then P.B. Shelley, that is Ozymandias. Now, in all these poems, if you remember, you find that there is description of nature in various ways, in its various moods, in its various colors, in its various aspects. So, when we talk about the Romantic period of English literature, these are considered to be the four greats: William Wordsworth, S.T. Coleridge, P.B. Shelley, and John Keats. John Keats died very young. He died at the age of 25 or 26 years. He was he was suffering from tuberculosis. He was trained to be a surgeon, but finally he decided to devote completely himself to the poetry. Keats' secret, his power to sway and delight the readers, lies primarily in his gift for perceiving the world and living his moods and aspirations in terms of language. Now, following is an excerpt from the poem Endymion, a poetic romance. Now, this poem, A Thing of Beauty, is not actually an independent poem. It is a poem which is a part of that epic, which is Endymion. The poem, that main poem, is based on a Greek legend in which Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd and poet who lived on Mount Latmos, had a vision of Cynthia, the moon goddess. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out, and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. Now, when we talk about beauty, we generally perceive beauty as something which is physical. But that is not the real beauty, because a physical beauty is not ageless, is not timeless. After a certain time, it decays. But here, the poet is talking about a beauty which is permanent, which is everlasting, which is never going to lose its essence. And that beauty is the beauty of the nature. The first line of the poem has now taken, what you can say, has been is now used as a very uh, famous quote: "A thing of beauty is joy forever." A thing of beauty is joy forever. Something which is beautiful is always providing joy and happiness. But then, which thing of beauty the poet is talking about? The poet says the thing of beauty is joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. A thing of beauty is joy forever. A beautiful thing is always a source of joy and happiness. But which beauty he is talking about? He is talking about a beauty whose beauty increases, goes on increasing, will never become a thing of past, pass into nothingness, will never be lost. So he is talking about eternal beauty. He is talking about a beauty which is permanent, and that beauty is beauty of nature. But what that nature will do for us, but will keep a bower quite for us. Bower is a is shade of trees. it will keep a peaceful shade of trees for us where we can sleep. Which type of sleep? Sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. So nature provides us peaceful shade of trees where we can rest, where we can have a sleep, a sound sleep with a relaxed mind, full of sweet dreams. It also provides us health, and obviously it provides us something which is very essential for us, and that is air for breathing. As nature provides us so many things, that's why the poet says, therefore on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth. And that is the reason, we the human beings, every morrow, morrow is morning, that is the beginning of a new day. So every day what we are trying to do, we are wreathing, we are preparing a flowery band. We are constantly in our efforts to establish a harmonious relationship with the nature, the earth. Why? Because the nature, the earth provides us so many things. Now, from here, spite of despondence, till made for our searching. We will try to understand it in the reverse manner. Spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways, made for our searching. Poet says, when we look around ourselves, made for our searching. When we look around, what do we find ourselves surrounded with? Spite of despondence, pain of hopelessness, inhuman dearth, acute shortage of noble characters, gloomy days, days filled with sadness, no brightness there, of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways. Now what are these unhealthy and over-darkened ways? These unhealthy and over-darkened ways are jealousy, hatred, animosity. So when we look around ourselves, we find ourselves surrounded by various negativities. And what are these negativities? These negativities are pain of hopelessness, acute shortage of noble characters, sadness, evil things, unhealthy things, over-darkened things such as jealousy, hatred, animosity. These things, they darken our spirits. They darken our spirits and take away the joy from our life. But poet says that yes, in spite of all these negativities, there are some shape of beauty moves away the pall. There are certain beautiful things which are present in the nature, which remove this darkness from our spirit. They fill our lives with joy and give us a reason to love life more. Even though we are surrounded with negativities, even though our spirits are darkened by various negativities, and these negativities, they take away that element of joy from our lives. But the beautiful objects of nature which are present around us remove this darkness from our spirit and give us a reason to love life more. And what are these beautiful objects of nature? Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep. And what are these beautiful things? These beautiful things are the sun, the moon, trees, whether they are old or young, they are giving us a boon, a gift of shade. And for whom all these things are? For simple sheep. When we read that line for simple sheep, the first thing that we get to it is that it is an alliteration. But more than alliteration, it is allusion. 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 Allusion is a reference to something. Now this simple sheep is reference to Bible, wherein Jesus Christ is considered to be shepherd, and all his followers, the human beings, are considered to be sheep. So all this beautiful, what does the poet want to say? The poet wants to say that all these beautiful things of nature are for the human beings. And apart from all this, there are other things also, such as daffodils, the beautiful flowers such as daffodils, the green world they live in, the forest, the greenery which is all around us, the clear rills, the mountain streams, that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season, the clear mountain streams which make every corner, every hidden corner cool even during the hot season. The mid-forest brake, the thick plants of fern all around, rich with sprinkling of fair musk rose bloom, and among that thickness of the fern plant, the musk rose blooming. It seems as if color has been sprinkled all around. Now all these beautiful things are gift of nature for the human beings. They remove that darkness from our spirit, which is the result of the various negativities which we have created for ourselves. The negativity is that take away the joy and happiness from our lives. Now these beautiful objects of nature, which are for the human beings, they remove that darkness. They once again fill our lives with joy and happiness. And all these are bounties, treasure, gift of nature for the human beings. And as nature is grand, as nature is, what do you say, bhavya, as it is said in Hindi, as nature is full of grandness, similarly, there is grandness in the lives of great people of past. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead, all lovely tales that we have heard or read. As nature is full of grandness, similarly, the lives of the great people of the past, the mighty dead, the great people of the past, in their lives and deaths there is grandness, grandeur, grandness. And from where we have come to know about them, all lovely tales that we have heard or read. The beautiful stories that we have heard or we have read. And what are the sources of these stories? The sources of these stories are various forms of literature. Various forms of literature, ballad, poems, drama, all these are the various forms of literature, and from there we have either heard these beautiful tales about the great people of the past or we have read them. Now why this grandeur is associated with the great and mighty people of the past? Because these great and mighty people of the past, they performed great deeds, and these deeds, these acts which they have performed are a constant source of motivation and inspiration for us. They are, whenever we are down, when we are depressed, when we think about these great people, when we read about these great people, when we come to know about the lives of these great people, they motivate us, they inspire us. So what actually the poet wants to say, that along with nature, literature is also an eternal source of joy and happiness. And that's why in the last two lines, the poet says, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring onto us from the heaven's brink. Endless fountain, everlasting fountain of immortal drink, elixir as it is known as, Amrit as we call it in our language. What happens when someone drinks that immortal drink? Becomes immortal. So this nature and literature, they are compared to immortal drink because they are immortal in their aspect. They are everlasting. They are always a source of joy and happiness. Then the time has no effect on them. They are ageless, they are eternal, and that's why he considers nature and literature to be endless fountain, and he says that it is being poured onto us, poured from heaven's brink. Brink is edge. Poet feels that these beautiful things, nature and literature, are gift of gods for the human being, which have been given to us so that there is always joy and happiness in our lives. Now that is the poem A Thing of Beauty by John Keats.